It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Mandy the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name's Thomas Schick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are y'all guys doing?
Doing well, thanks.
Oh, reasonable.
Sorry with the tough questions right off the bat.
Hard.
I'll do better next time.
It's so hard, you know. It's hard. Nah.
I'll do better with the next one, so hope everybody's doing okay. What's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
It is only the 311th time you've asked us that, so, you'd think we'd be used to it by now.
I know it's coming, so you have something prepared.
That's the tricky part.
Right. I don't have a whole lot of anything. Trying to think what the hell I've been doing. Yeah, no, I don't have anything.
Good night, everybody.
Right. I've been playing, I do have a funny little story to tell.
Oh.
I kind of, I ventured out into zombie mobile games, and, it's pretty cool. I don't mind, I like building stuff. It's just, any kind of game where I can build a house or, actually like build something, I'm going to like it. Well, that's all fine and good, but most of these games, if you want to get like anywhere at all in a game, they always make you like sign up with an alliance or a clan or, some bunch of yahoos that you really don't want to.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I signed up, hey, how's everyone doing? Said hi, that kind of thing. Well, I meet someone and they want me to play a different game. Well, I've only been playing this game for like maybe an hour, and it's like, well, I kind of want to figure this game out before I start another game. Well, whatever. They keep, gotta try this game. I wind up going to bed, shutting the game down and everything else. I wake up the next morning. I've been made leader of this alliance thing. And I've got all these people going, what are we going to do? And it's like, I don't know. Because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And I don't know why they did this. What the hell? So I just found the next person who contributed the most, gave them the leader role, and got the fuck out of that game.
Can't blame you there.
Yeah, that's just... I like games where I'm not dependent on other people to play that game. I don't mind fighting games. Those are kind of cool and that kind of thing. I shouldn't have to join a group of people to advance in a game. That's where you're going to lose me. Apparently, with how popular these games are, I'm not the majority. So, I just wish there was a way that you could play these games, like I said, not be dependent on other people, kind of do your own thing without someone come along and tearing up what you have because you don't want to play the game with them, So, I don't know. Maybe I'm not a gamer anymore.
So, I hear Solitaire is a good game.
Right? Well, and just even to listen to people talk and that kind of thing, it's kind of like, I bet you anything, I'm at least 20 years older than everybody in this room.
Oh, you might be surprised.
Yeah. But they're so serious about it. You have to log on every day and you have to do this. And it's like, no, I have to go to work every day. If I get 10 minutes to play a game, I'll play 10 minutes. But with my ADD and how bored I get, I ain't promising nobody any of my time.
That reminds me of my time when I was playing Star Trek Timelines, and I accidentally hit the button where basically makes your presence aware to everybody else that plays. So all of a sudden you get about 40 or 50 requests to join their fleet. And it's like, I did that one time when I played several years back, and it's just like it was annoying as hell.
It is.
So I accidentally did that, and all of a sudden I get all these invites, and I just and messages left and right. Come join our fleet. It's gonna be fun. We're not all that demanding. It's like fuck this, fuck that.
Yeah. Just
you
sending me a message is too demanding for me.
I just I just want to play the game.
Yeah. And then it sucks because even if you go along with like the diary or whatever, whatever journal thing they have to get you through the game, at some point you cannot get past it if you don't join some kind of clan or an alliance or whatever,
Yeah.
And I don't play well with others.
We've noticed, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to do my thing. And they're like, oh, well, you can't do that. You've got to help the clan, and we've got to do this. And it's like, no, I've got to get my hero to 40 so I can go down here and do what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's my time and resources in this game, not for a bunch of people I don't even know, Maybe if I had more in common with them. Let's see, the first group I joined, the name of it was Spider-Man. So when I'm talking to the leader, right, I'm like, oh, do you like the comic? Oh, no, I've never read the comics. Well, why the fuck did you name this group Spider-Man? And that was the one who wants me to play this other game and stuff. So it's kind of like, well, you already baited me with Spider-Man. Now I'm kind of stuck here. So, but I guess he got upset because I didn't play the other game and just left that game and left me in charge of everything. And it was like, not even 24 hours into this game.
Most of which you were asleep, apparently.
Right, It's like, they need to make, or if you want to have clans who fight and do all that stuff, that's great if you have people who like those kind of games. I don't. I'd rather collect my little stones and build my fort and, that kind of thing. They should let us join a clan and leave us the fuck alone. Let us play our game.
Well, I mean, that was one of the things that after a while I got tired of with the Facebook games.
Yes.
Because okay, you can play this game, but if you need to do this or you want to accomplish this mission, well, you need to add friends or you need to have your friends send you stuff.
Yeah.
Or this, that, and the other, and it's just like, if I'm spending all day begging my game friends for stuff so I can complete the mission, this is not playing a game.
It's not. No, and before it was okay because, most of us do have that one or two friends who play those kind of games, and that's cool if we're both playing the game. But then when it started spamming people who wasn't playing the game, or instead of just 2 or 3, roses from this friend, and all of a sudden you got to have 15. Mm-hmm. Well, I may have had 2 or 3 people who played this game, but I don't have 15. When I ask 15 of my other friends, they're going to think,
Yeah. Or what you do is you add people who are playing the game to be Facebook friends, and that can be dicey.
Yep. No, I've met a few really good friends that we don't even play the game anymore.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we still keep up with each other and stuff.
There's still some that I'm still Facebook friends with. I mean, we don't really talk that much or anything, but there's a lot of them that I lost. It's funny going back into you look at the Facebook memories, and you see some of the stuff you post, and then you see some of the people that commented, and you kind of look at them and like, add his friend. It's like, I wonder when I lost them.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's aggravating because there were some really fun games. But the problem is it got too dependent on basically trying to get others to play and have everybody and those people send you stuff and then you send them stuff.
Yeah.
I get it. That's the whole gist of what they're trying to do. That's their whole purpose. I get that. It's just annoying as hell because there were some fun games.
Now, see, I liked it when Zynga took their games off of Facebook and put it on their own server. And now you're playing with people all over the world who are playing this game. So instead of spamming your Facebook friends, it would throw it into like a chat screen on the side that you had going to where a complete nobody could click on that and give you your cow or whatever you needed. That's cool because you don't have to worry about requesting anything because those people are already playing the game. They're there right now playing the game, So I liked that, but I don't think that worked out too well for Zynga because I think they've discontinued all of that but Farmville 2. And I never got into the first well, I did. I did, and I had some really nice trees, and then they quit supporting it. So all of this money that you sink into a game is just gone,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, Zynga was really big at one time.
And they had quite a few different kinds of games that you could play instead of just, one solitaire or whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot with like Steam, and I think Epic Games has their own browser now. You find that a lot of the littler indie companies that were trying to up and come kind of got smushed out again. I was wanting to play that Multiverse. Stupid me. I think I even reported that it was a mobile game, and it's not. It's a console game. And you can play it on Steam, but I'm sorry if you use Steam, but to me, Steam is the most goddamn confusing platform they've ever made for games. You can't find your games. And as a person who plays a lot of computer games, I wish that when you got into a game, platforms like Steam and Epic, that when you're looking at a game, it would tell you up front, this is a keyboard controller, this is a mouse controller, or this is a joystick controller. I can't tell you how many games I've so wanted to try, and it's a stupid freaking joystick. I don't have a joystick for my computer. I'm a computer gamer. I don't need a joystick.
Right. If you were a console gamer, it would be different.
It would be different, yeah. And I think they should tell you that right up front. This is, when they're telling you all the other stuff, blood, sex, violence. Hey, by the way.
Blood, sex, violence, joystick.
Yeah, it's a joystick. So, but yeah, so I guess that's what I've been doing. I've been playing more games.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I've had more downtime. Trying to become superheroes,
Okay, Mikey.
Oh, I guess it's my turn then.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sort of still trying to catch up after being sick. COVID, again, I will say, COVID is a bitch. So I haven't done a ton. I did actually. It was kind of weird. I have a Fire Stick, and I was watching. God, I don't even know what I was watching now. I don't know what started it. But they do kind of a recommended on the Fire Stick itself on the like the home page. There's kind of there's a recommended row, and it'll have just stuff. It'll sort of I mean, a lot of it's random shit, and probably depending on which app is giving them enough money to plug their stuff at the time. And I just happened to look down the row the other day, and one of the movies on the recommended row was Earth versus the Flying Saucers.
Woohoo!
And I was like, yeah, all right, why not? I could kill a couple of evenings watching this, no problem. Turns out it's actually not a half bad movie. I mean, it is definitely a B movie from the mid-50s, and that's, I mean, kind of okay, you know? It kind of doesn't bother me that much. The other thing it's got, of course, is special effects by Ray Harryhausen, which might be the best part of the movie because the saucers themselves were pretty damn cool looking, especially for the time. And watching him destroy all the important buildings in Washington was kind of fun too. So, not to spoil a movie from 1956 or anything, but the good guys win, of course. But because again, 1956, the acting is a little stiff and dated, but you know, it's cool. I mean, overall, like I said, pretty good movie. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't watched a 50s B movie in a while. 50s sci-fi B movie. So that was fun.
Cool.
I'm going to recommend you go find Mars Needs Women.
I have seen that around. I haven't started watching it yet. I need to figure out where I can find it.
Tommy Kirk and Yvonne Craig.
Cool. Yeah, see if I can find that.
Amazon Prime, Mikey.
Yeah, I see that. It says, yeah, this has a list, and Prime's right at the top. Cool. I'll have to go add that to my list.
Okay, Les?
Well, a couple things. I started watching wrestling on YouTube video.
Is it wrestling or wrestling?
Wrestling.
Oh.
They list it as wrestling, so I'll say, okay, wrestling. I honed in on Steve Austin.
Ooh, mm-hmm.
And to just watch these clips from, I think the latest one they have is like 2004. So you're looking at quite some time, and to see these wrestlers young again is fun to watch. And I was watching that because, unlike some of my cohorts here, I don't have any friends, so I don't have anybody bothering me about playing games.
I think that was pretty much Liz's point just a minute ago, but I digress.
Yeah.
Water my trees.
Okay, I got no idea where that's coming from.
You're lucky then.
So for me, it was pretty quiet. Just to get back and watch these old films and some of the old matches is pretty good. I also found a section called Vintage Archives. Vintage Archives looks at various actors and or actresses. And these are good. You know, whatever happened to somebody, and it's good because they do an extensive coverage. I watched, I think, three different type of reviews for Doris Day. Did one or two for Yvonne Craig. It's kind of funny because they get mixed up. the people that produce these, it sounds like they get a robot to do coverage of these, and it's pretty sad when one of the actors I was looking at did several episodes on Doobie Gillis. I was going, where the hell did you get that? But you learn to live.
Wasn't he the lead singer of the Doobie Brothers?
No, that was the Doobie Brothers.
Oh, right, sorry.
He was Maynard's friend. Work!
All right, Velma. Okay, that's enough.
Didn't Maynard get like stranded on an island somewhere or something?
Something like that,
I
yeah.
think he did, yeah.
With and the rest.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It was only supposed to be a 4-hour tour, though.
I think
3
hours.
3. There you go.
I think and the rest was just kind of the band name, wasn't it?
Mm.
Maynard and the rest. I don't know. Oh, that's cool.
I don't know where I lost control, but okay, that's it for me.
Control is an illusion.
You lost control when Bernie Capel took over.
Do not adjust your set. We have taken control of the horizontal and the vertical. No idea where that came from, but anyway.
Oh, bullshit. Everybody knows where that came from.
I just don't know how it got into my head in that moment.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
No, he's taken enough abuse for one night. Right?
Oh, no, I'm sure there's more coming. I just want to save my strength.
Mm-hmm.
The worst is yet to come. Da-da-da. Well, for me, not a whole heck of a lot. I have, the last couple of days, I've been checking some. There is a channel on Twitch that shows nothing but Sherlock Holmes, and they're constantly adding stuff. Obviously, they have the Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce films, and some other shows and movies. But the thing that's caught my attention was the 1954 TV series, and this starred Ronald Howard, who is the son of Leslie Howard. He played Sherlock Holmes, and H. Marion Crawford played Watson. And this has been kind of an interesting show, because
Wait, like Ron Howard, like Opie Ron Howard? Okay.
No.
Ronald Howard.
Okay.
That's why I said Ronald and not Ron.
British guy, I think.
Yes, he's British. Yes.
I remember watching that show years and years ago and liking it.
It's been good
I can't
because
remember where I watched it.
it's kind of a different take. It's a little bit more, I would say, early in kind of Holmes's career. And now I know others have done it since then, but there seems I like Howard's performance of Holmes. It's a little different, and I like it. And these have been pretty good. It only lasted like 39 episodes. They're 30 minutes long, and the majority of them are original stories.
Yeah.
But it's been pretty good. So, well, I can throw a link in the show notes for y'all to check it out. But I mean, they're interspersed. There's really not any kind of like a schedule of what comes what. So it's going to be, you're just going to have to turn it over there and see. But I mean, there's a lot of the Rathbone Bruce being shown, and then this series for sure. But I've been digging it. from what I've seen, I've seen maybe, I don't think I've seen a third of them, but maybe close. But I've liked the show, and kind of doing research about this, is it was filmed in France, so you have a British cast filming a show in France for American syndication in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
How weird is that?
Global.
Yeah, it seems pretty removed for sure. But,
Mm-hmm.
but it works. I mean, the show works fine.
The show. Yeah, like I said, I like the show a lot. So it's definitely worth checking out.
Yep. Cool.
So before we get into this week's discussion, I would like to point out that we do have a Discord that y'all are more than welcome to come join us. We post a lot of news items, stuff for discussion, fun stuff, trailers, music videos, that kind of stuff, and we'll have some activities going on. We'll do like a movie night, or we'll have something that may go over the course of a month. So it's just fun. So if you like the podcast, you like hanging out with us, then you're more welcome to come join us. Sign up for Discord is free. The app is free in any app store. We do have an open invite on our homepage, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. So, and we have something special coming up for October, so you might want to join us. So, be a part of it.
Ooh, a tease.
Ooh, a tease. Alrighty. We are completing Classic TV Month today. And this has been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we may do this again next year. We'll see. But we are ending it on what I think was a very fun show. It was a Americanized version of a show in Britain called Man of the House, if I'm not mistaken. A Man About the House, I'm sorry. I was close. Talking about Three's Company with John Ritter, Suzanne Summers, and Joyce DeWitt as original cast.
The best cast.
Gee, somebody's got an opinion there.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna have some discussions a little bit about this, but let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about Three's Company.
Explain yourself.
I always liked this one. I do like the earlier seasons, just not only for the cast, but just the storylines too. I think as it went on, like when he became the chef and everything else, it just kind of got meh. So, yeah, I think the three, Suzanne Summers, John Ritter, and Joyce DeWitt, I think they made it work. It was kind of weird going back watching the first season compared to after they kind of got the ball rolling and you could tell they really got their chemistry with each other and everything else. Those episodes, I don't know, looking back now, I don't know if they were going to try and set it up to where they were like jealous of Jack and were going to fight over Jack. And I'm watching the first episodes. Now I've seen all the way to the end of this thing and I'm sitting there in my head going, don't do it. And I know they don't, but yeah. It seems like the first season, that's kind of where they were headed with that. And then they decided, no, let's not do that. You can only, like with Cheers, you can only go so far with that storyline. So it was kind of good that they did keep them separate and their own people and their own stories. And they're all just good friends. It was Friends before Friends was popular. But this is where I first saw John Ritter.
This is where a lot of people first saw it.
Yeah, a lot of yeah.
Yeah.
He had only had bit parts before then. I remember being in an episode of MASH. But this was where he took off.
Yeah. And you know, he was really known for his comedy. But John Ritter could really play some creepy ass parts, man.
He was a good actor.
He was. He was very good. And I hate to put him in the same boat, but I'm about to. Him and Robin Williams. They were so good at being funny and, you know, keeping people laughing around them. But when it came time to play the creepy psycho part, they could throw that laughter right in the trash can and be who you wanted them to. And to me, when you see someone that you know, oh, he's supposed to be funny, and now you're scared of him, you know? It's just kind of like, wow, that's good. You know? Maybe a little too good. But yeah, I like John Ritter. He was my favorite on the show. I think if they could have taken the original cast and put Don Knotts as the landlord earlier than the Ropers, I would have enjoyed the show even more. So, but didn't they take the Ropers off for their own spinoff?
Yeah, they
Yes,
spun
they
spun them off to their own show. Yeah.
Yeah, and I watched that too. You know, it's not that I didn't like them. I just really like Don Knotts. We were talking about expressive people last week. He's a very expressive person.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. He's a very physical actor.
He is. Whole body acting, you know. And I thought what they tried to do with the two blondes in the later seasons, it was cool. I mean, they didn't need to, you know, instead of being the I hate to say dumb, don't come for me, but Chrissy was not the smartest person, you know, and it was cute. It wasn't, I didn't see it as demeaning or anything. It was cute. That was Chrissy, you know. And then when you had her cousin Cindy come on, and Cindy was a blonde, but she was strong and had a good job, and, you know, it was just kind of hard to find her funny because she was so serious. So even when she was being funny, it was serious, you know, so I didn't care for Cindy. And I forgot the third. Wasn't there a third blonde who came after Cindy?
Terry.
Yeah. She was okay. She was kind of in between of Chrissy and Cindy. Still not the brightest, but could be serious and, you know, kind of thing. And then when you find out why they let Susan Summers go, that was just kind of And I think today, we see it a lot today where women are demanding the same pay as the men or the others in the shows and everything else. When she did it, that was a no-no. You didn't talk about pay and what you weren't making, and, you know, you were just supposed to be happy with what you had. And for me, that was the first person I ever saw stand up and go, this is bullshit, you know. I do just as much on that show as the other two do. So, bravo for standing up, and it did cost her quite a bit, you know. Not only would she get killed off the show, she was kind of blackballed there for a while and didn't really...
Blacklisted.
Yeah, or blacklisted. Sorry. And I guess the next thing I remember seeing her in was, what, Thigh Master commercial? Or Feed the Kid?
She had a show. She's the sheriff.
Oh,
which,
yeah.
Which didn't last real long.
No. Where she was just basically Chrissy in a cop suit, and that just, no.
It was a very tight cop suit, as I recall. But...
Yeah, it was. But yeah, I think she deserved what she was asking for.
She probably did, but it was not normal for that to happen.
Mm-mm.
It was a time frame, like you said, when the Hollywood wasn't ready yet to do that.
No.
Um,
And he was a man, and he should have been making more, and, that was just the standards back then.
mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, he was the star of the show. I mean,
He was.
See, and I think that's probably what she had the problem with, because she didn't see it as he was the star of the show. Those three were the star of the show. Every storyline had those three in it,
Sure.
So I think she felt that, yes, you're headlining him as the star, but we're doing just as much work as he is,
Right, we're contributing too.
Yeah, people are tuning in for me too, And honestly, Chrissy was pretty popular on the show. Probably more so than Janet was. And I think, I could be wrong on that, but I think at the time when she stood up and was like, this is bullshit, even Janet was making more money than she was. And she's like, what the hell, You may have me play stupid, but I ain't stupid.
That doesn't mean I am stupid, right?
Yeah. So I like I said, back then I didn't see her point, but now I totally see her point. Back then it was kind of like, why does she want to ruin a show? And I think that's the way TV Guide kind of picked it up and ran with it too, is that she was ruining the show and they didn't know if the next season was going to happen. And
Oh, sure, they're going to try to create some drama out of it.
yeah,
That's their job.
they couldn't be the bad guys, That's kind of like that whole deal with Carol in The Walking Dead. They shifted all that blame to her, They couldn't be the bad guys.
Of course not.
But I think in that situation, it's coincidence that both are women. I don't think, I ain't pushing that narrative.
Oh, good.
I'm not. But it's just the way that networks, they want to be a douchebag, but they never want to take credit for being a douchebag. They've got to shift that blame somewhere else. Well, it wasn't us,
Of course not. We're doing everything we can to get this going again.
Yeah. And the worst thing you could have been labeled in Hollywood then was a diva. Now they wear it proudly like a badge of honor, but back then, nobody wants to work with a diva,
Right.
They don't want the drama on their set. So she went and did Thigh Master. Which, hey, I laugh, but she made a lot of money off of that. So good for her, And she stayed pretty toned during that time.
Coincidence? I don't know.
But they did do an interview with her not too long back, and she had said there's no hard feelings now. There was then, but
50 years later,
yeah.
Yeah.
But and her problem was never with John or Janet, or Joyce. I'm sorry. Her problem never was with them.
Right.
So I think that she was friends with him when he died. So yeah, I liked it.
Les, your thoughts?
I think there was such a disruption that the original cast would not be able to be returning. Because at that time, you say now that, or you saw an interview where they said there's no animosity now.
Yeah.
There was a hell of a lot of animosity then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She tore it apart.
Well,
They had a good thing going, and she ripped it.
Yeah. I think the fight with them then was, why don't y'all have my back on this? Maybe if you were making what I was making, you'd have my back on this, So I could see people being hurt when you think you're friends with someone and you go to make a stand and then you look around and standing there by herself. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying she was being reasonable in what she wanted, but she did have a right to at least make what Joyce was making at the time, John was the more popular one on the show. So he did, man or woman, he did deserve to make that because he was pulling in the laughs.
Well, I mean, when things got so bad that they had to have different scripts, different sets of scripts, one based on, hey, Suzanne's actually going to be here and do her job, or she's not going to be here today, so this is what we have to do. That's
Yep. Well, and it's like the whole.
That's a pretty big disruption.
That is.
To a pretty consistent gig. I mean, they're cranking out an episode a week more than likely.
Yeah.
Not being there screws things up pretty bad.
I had forgotten about that. And then, like, the last half of the last season she was on, most of it she was phoning in, literally. They only talked to her on the phone, and that's how they pulled her in those storylines. I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, because she was visiting family or something like that.
Maybe she was a diva then. Maybe they didn't feel like they should have to pay someone who was creating so many problems and losing so much.
There's no doubt. There's no question. She was very popular back then. She was a sex symbol. Her posters was just as popular as Farrah Fawcett at the time.
Yeah.
No, I get that, but I think between her and her husband, they handled it wrong. They could have, because first of all, they were already under a contract for a certain period of time. So for them to turn around and go, "Hey, that's not right. You're treating me wrong. I'm not getting enough money." Well, that's the contract you signed. So let's get through this contract and let's negotiate another contract or whatever. That's when you do all that. But when you sign on the line, that's a commitment. And it was okay when you signed it back then, but now it's not. And I'm not saying I don't mean to be throwing a lot of shade at her. She deserved to get. They all deserve a ton of money because they were doing a great job. It was a successful show. But the problem is it was a John Ritter vehicle. Joyce DeWitt and Suzanne Summers were supporting members. They're just as important, but they're supporting cast members.
Yeah.
That was basically how the thing, because it was literally a copy of the British show. So so I'm kind of trying to walk a fine line because I see both sides. She deserved more money, but I think she went about it the wrong way. And of course, this is a time where women were not as treated as well. Not that they're being treated great right now, but they still get paid less, but
we've made our strides.
I think she could handle it differently. That's all I'm saying, because she literally screwed things up, and it hurt her more than anybody else.
Yeah,
because she's gone. And the show's still on for another 5 or 6 years. And meanwhile, she's maybe doing Vegas shows or something like that, or she's the sheriff. Was she blacklisted? We would never.
Yeah, we'll never know the answer to that.
We'll never know the answer to that. Maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. Maybe she was labeled difficult because of this. But then again, some people maybe thought, well, all she's going to ever be is just playing the sexy, dumb woman.
Yeah.
If she can, maybe she can't do anything else. I mean, the whole typecast thing. So,
Right, and we'll never know because she kind of screwed up that process.
Yeah.
Because she kind of didn't handle it well. So there's no way to ever know.
right. And for the rest of the cast, they never fully recovered because whoever they got, they tried to do something a little different. So they didn't actually have the Chrissy clone because that would have been the worst thing to do.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
The credit to other shows who've had big cast changes, whoever they get, they do the totally 180 degree difference, because they don't want that comparison.
Yeah.
Cindy and poor Jenny Lee. I didn't care for the character. It's not her fault, but it was kind of it was kind of rough.
She was in a tough
And then
position.
Yeah. I mean, how do you replace someone?
Regardless of what the character was, she was replacing Suzanne Summers.
Right.
I mean, and that's a hard thing to do.
Anything, in any position, replacing a founding member of a band or something like that. Those are tough shoes to fill. You replacing Sean Connery as James Bond. That's tough. I mean, they're not the same level, but it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the writing was a little bit better with Terry, maybe because they didn't really go with the whole she's dumb, she does some stupid things, but she's a little bit more sophisticated because she was a nurse.
Yeah.
And all that. So they did something a little bit different, and I think those episodes are a little bit better. But at this point, the show's been going on for several years, and you can kind of see the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
At that point, it's like, yeah, we can't keep doing this. I remember an interview with John Ritter. He was talking about he knew things were getting bad because he remembered, like in the first season, there was a whole episode with the gang trying to hide a puppy from the Ropers, and now they're doing an episode where they're trying to hide a kitten from Mr. Furley, and he's going, this is not good. This is not good.
I watched the puppy one this weekend.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Did you know it was the puppy one going in, or did you just happen to catch it?
I just happened to catch it because I think it's like the second or the third episode ever. So yeah, I didn't know it was the puppy one.
I was teasing. I kind of didn't expect that you did.
That was a cute little puppy, though.
When they start recycling plots, then you're going, okay, we have a problem here.
Yeah, we've done it.
Right, especially in like season 7 or 8, because hell, I mean, it took the Three Stooges 20 years to start doing that, basically.
Right.
Well, that may not be exactly right, but it's close. Took them several years.
The thing that I find funny now, and granted, we're talking several years later, but how provocative the show was. with dealing with sexual situations or sexual innuendos or that kind of stuff. Back at that time, that was, I don't want to say scandalous, because it was on at like 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night, so it was still kind of early in the evening, or at least in the Central Time. But I'm not going to speak for the rest of the Central.
But
yeah. But now the show's on like the Family Channel or some of these other channels, or Nick at Night, like it, and just go, wow,
Yeah, it was pretty much cutting edge at the time, for sure.
Yeah.
I also remember, I think it was Ritter or maybe in Joyce Witt, I can't remember. One of them was talking about at one taping that there happened to be like a number of nuns in the audience, and they were going, "What? Why are nuns at a taping at Three's Company?"
Right. Kind of
I
asking
doubt it
for
was an
trouble
accident.
at that point.
I mean, come on, that's very likely not an accident. They showed up on purpose.
I understand, but you're just going, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah, which episode are we doing this week?
The nun sketch.
Well, we are now, anyway. Jeez, just can't break the habit.
So, did anybody watch Three's a Crowd?
For a short while.
I think I did, because I think that's actually the one I was thinking of where he's the chef now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where he got married and was running a restaurant, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he lived in the restaurant. Yeah, it was all right.
I remember it not being so memorable.
Yeah.
But I remember Robert Mandan as a part of the crew, and I've always enjoyed him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was on Soap.
Soap, yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Funny dude.
He was. He was like in everything.
He worked a lot in that time frame.
Yeah.
And he suited that role so well. I mean, it worked.
Mm-hmm.
The show didn't work. I don't remember that much about it. I don't know if I even seen a full episode. I just didn't think I was. I don't think I was that interested.
Right.
It wasn't so much that I'm so pissed that Three's Company's over with. It's just that I just had no interest in watching the show. So.
Yeah.
Yep, it was different. And I don't remember being interested in different at the time.
I probably was, but not that kind of different.
And as far as the Ropers go, about the only memorable cast member there for me was Patty McCormick, who played their neighbor. And I only remember her because she was the star in The Bad Seed.
Patty McCormick. I'm trying to think who she was in there.
She played their neighbor.
Lana?
Huh?
Was it Lana?
And
No, from the Ropers.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, never mind. I was like, I thought that was someone else, but that's the only girl I could think of.
Well, you're right. It is.
Well, yeah, Lano is Three's Companies. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Different neighbor, different
Yeah.
home.
Cool.
Well, you mentioned Lana. Larry, I liked the addition of Larry to the show. That helped.
Yeah. Richard Klein.
Mm-hmm.
If you really like sleaze, he was good.
He was. He was dripping with it.
He was very good at that.
He was.
No lie.
Have any of y'all watched the British version? That this was the where they took this from? A Man About the House?
No,
No.
I have not.
I don't think I have. Let me see.
I remember seeing a bit of an episode a long time ago. It was on KERA, which for those who are not around here, it's the local PBS. And I think it was the initial episode because I remember it being almost a carbon copy to the first episode of Three's Company. Because it was the whole setup of, okay, well, you know, I'll just say that I'm gay. That way I can actually live in an apartment with you two ladies. Because otherwise there's going to be problems.
Which is crazy. Nowadays, that wouldn't even be a problem to be in a storyline.
Right, you couldn't make the show today. Nobody would care.
Yeah.
Nobody would care. And
Yep.
yeah, but in 1973 in England,
Yeah,
it
that
was a
wasn't
big deal.
proper.
Right.
You were supposed to be married if you were living together, and even then, you didn't push your beds together. At least not on TV.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, TV has always played it a little conservative in that regard.
Yeah.
So it takes them a while to catch up.
If they played this on PBS, The Man About the House, I probably saw an episode or two. I used to watch the British comedy, and it's the only place you could watch it.
Yeah.
And that was before days of DVR where you could hit OK and see the name of the show you were watching.
Right.
Right.
So I've watched a lot of British comedies and not known, or caught the names of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I would have never known the names of half of the crap I watched on Channel 13 if they hadn't printed TV schedules in the newspaper back in those days.
Right.
Yeah.
What is this thing that you speak of?
I know, right? That's been a long time.
And do you remember when they first introduced the rolling TV guide? That sucker was fast. You better speed read or you were going to miss it and wait 20 minutes for it to come
Right,
back
cycle
around.
for, well, I mean, and of course they didn't invent that until there were 200 cable channels to cycle through. And so, yeah, it was a 10, 15-minute wait to figure it out. You miss it the second time, you'll never know because the damn show's over before you can get to it again.
It was almost as fast as them listing the school names off for snow days.
Ain't that the truth? Only in the major metropolitan areas like we're in. Because, man, yeah, when you were a kid, you were watching that shit close, too, because it was zooming past, and you're like, wait, what, alphabetically, where does my city fall again? Damn it, I don't remember any of that. Okay.
Back up.
Oh, no, we're in the H's. I must have missed it. Or it's not up yet, one or the other. They haven't called school yet. Jerks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were the fun old days.
Kids will never know.
Nope.
Now they call it like the day before. Oh, it might rain hard tomorrow, so you guys go ahead and stay home. And I'm thinking, what? You made me take a bus, slipping and sliding my ass to school. Now it rains and they get to stay home.
Right. This was back in the day when we were in school, boys and girls. They didn't have seat belts in school buses.
They do now?
I don't know. I haven't been in a school bus in 30 years. What are you talking about?
Right. I remember those bars
Remind
in
me,
front.
I'll ask my kid.
Every bump you hit, you chip your teeth on the front of the seat.
Uh-huh. They didn't pad them things or nothing.
Nothing. They'd let you hang halfway out the window if you wanted.
I used to like sitting on the wheel well because you could put your feet up. It was great.
Yep. I remember that.
I had short legs. I always had to sit on the wheel.
Right. Had short legs. Like that's changed.
I've grown. I'm like 7 foot tall now.
Uh-huh. Legend in your own mind.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
She's smoking again.
I am taller than my best friend and sister, so just saying, I'm the tall one in the group. It's only like a quarter of an inch, but it's like I told him, hey, in horseshoes, I'd be winning. I take it.
Wow.
Should I say yay?
Right.
I think somebody better.
That-
Jeez.
Hearing all that kind of reminded me. Was it the two Ronnies, the British sitcom show?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Where they did a whole thing about tall, and they had John Cleese on there. Is like, and so John says, "Well, I'm taller than the two of them," and then they go to the next. They go to one Ronnie. He says, "Well, I'm smaller than him, but I'm taller and feeling superior to him since I'm taller than him." And then they go to the third Ronnie. He says, "I have a tremendous crick in my neck."
Well, as far as school buses go, I remember I never rode a school bus.
I was about to say, did they have them back then?
They had stone wheels on them, but yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
All the kids
That's
had
incorrect.
to stick their feet out the bottom and push them along like the Flintstones, you know.
The Flintstones, yes. Yeah.
Oh, did you just live
It's
close?
been a real thrill working with you folks all these years. So
No, did you like live close to the school or something? You got to walk.
Uphill.
I was totally
hey,
not
don't laugh.
there.
That was me.
No shoes.
5 miles every day.
In the snow.
Yep.
It was Oklahoma. How often did it snow, really? I mean, come on. I mean, more than it does here, probably, but...
It snowed enough that I had to walk through it.
Yeah, every day. Just long enough for him to walk in it.
Well, and now you can tell that
You're not
story.
earning any points here, young lady.
Hey, I'm with you.
Oh, wait,
I'm an
keeping
Okie
score?
too. See, that's Oklahoma in the mornings. Just mornings, though. See, most of my childhood was in Colorado, though. We had some, like, snow days. Like, the school is covered in snow and you can't get inside kind of school day or snow days.
That would be
Then we
interesting.
moved to Texas, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have enough gas, so they get us stay home." And I'm like, "What?" I will put an extra jacket on you.
Wow, this devolved into our childhood pretty fast.
Yeah, it did.
Three's Company, huh?
Three's Company.
Three's Company too. Yeah, I've been singing that all week. Come and knock on our door.
Lucky Phil.
So he said, why don't you go back to watching Andy Griffith?
Yeah, try to whistle.
So is he saying you whistle better than you sing? Is that what he's saying?
I whistle quieter.
Oh, okay. There you go. Fair enough.
And he's not a fan of Three's Company. It's weird. He will watch pretty much any old show I will stick on TV, and that he was like, meh. And then watch something else on his phone.
He's probably watching the Ropers.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, any final thoughts regarding Three's Company?
No. I said if you like John Ritter, I don't know how you haven't seen it. But I think I watched it on Tubi.
You finally got Tubi?
I finally went to Tubi.
Yay.
Yep.
Wow.
Commercials and all.
Yeah. The commercials aren't that bad. The breaks are a bit long sometimes, but they're not bad.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if it was like that channel that you sent me, Thomas, where they play the older shows, and it's like the older commercials with them older shows. I like that.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, the thing is, you just don't know. You just don't know what's going to be shown. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That it's kind of cool to look at that, and I guess we need to put a link in the show notes for that, so everybody can see what we're talking about. It's kind of cool to kind of go back and look at that, but you can change the channels, and then it may be like a trailer for a movie, and then that's all it shows.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, I mean, it's neat to see this, but I'd really like to see a little bit more. But so. But it's kind of cool just kind of go back, especially since they have it set up by decades.
Yeah. That is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
When I watched it, they were doing a lot of the Memorial Day commercials, so that was kind of neat. America, come get your couch.
Furniture and cars, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they even play some of the cringe where, want to make her happy? Buy her a new skillet today. Keep her in the kitchen. Take her shoes.
You want to get real cringe, go back to the 50s and look for the cigarette ads.
Oh, yeah. Actually,
wild.
though, not to promote smoking or anything else.
Yeah, right.
But the I Love Lucy Marvel commercials were actually kind of cute. That's where they got their little stick figures from. So those were cute. Not advocating smoking, because I light one up, but
Nobody would have known. I mean, other than the sound of the lighter,
Right.
yeah,
I do try to edit those out when I can, but I can't always do that.
You're right. But I think they took the stick figures from that and, like, they did other things, because I've got, like, Christmas ornaments and stuff of them. So I know it was more than just the Marvel commercials, but that's where they came from. Or, I say Marvel. It was Philip Morris. I don't know if it was exactly Marvel at that point.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I remember up until, I guess it was the 80s. Or no, yeah, when they finally pulled cigarette commercials off of TV. They used to be like every other commercial. That and the beer commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's car commercials.
Yeah.
Then they still have beer commercials, but
True.
just watch a football game. You'll see more beer commercials than you know what to do with. Any sporting event, really.
I think they set a standard on the beer commercials where they can't be like cartoon or depict,
I don't think they
They've
can
got
even
to
show people drinking beer on TV anymore. Or
Yeah.
on the commercials.
on the
They
commercials.
still do on the shows, but
They can show like a glass of it, but yeah.
yeah. That's where you get that slow motion pour bullshit thing from.
Yeah. I'm Samuel Adams. And your beer sucks. If I was going to be
More
crazy
bullshit.
enough to drink a beer, it would definitely not be a dark lager. No way.
You heard it here first, folks.
Ugh.
Yeah. Nobody's asking you to drink a beer, Liz.
Mm-mm.
Jeez.
No. Yuck.
Nobody's trying to take your tea away from you.
I like my tea.
I'm still stuck on the slow pour bullshit.
Not a fan of slow motion. What can I say?
Mm.
Also, not a fan of beer, so that doesn't.
You're also not a fan of bullshit.
Yeah, well. Of those three things, I'd rather have the bullshit, but whatever. We all digress once again. Three's Company, go watch it. It's fun.
Yep.
Awkward but fun.
Yep.
It is worth the time.
On that note, we are going to take a quick break and be back with Geek News for You. And we're back, and it's time for Geek News for You. This segment, we usually bring a couple of news items to the table for discussion. We've been having some fun doing this, and I think y'all have been enjoying it as well. For this week, it is Les and myself. And Les, why don't you go first?
Thank you, sir. My article concerns Warner Brothers Discovery and how they're looking at shutting down DC Comics. In this article by Matt McGloin via Cosmic Book News, this was last Friday that this came out. It is stated that WBD is looking toward DC Comics as a failing division. And the person they refer to as looking into this is David Zaslav, the new head of Warner Brothers Discovery. I have a problem with this because they are saying that their reliable source is Thinking Critical, a YouTube site, and stating that Zaslav is questioning DC why they're not making money. Sorry, but DC has been around a lot longer than you guys, and to just claim that they're going to try to shut it down is pretty sad. It seems that DC is planning some new titles, some new storylines. They're even thinking of bringing back a crossover of Batman and Spawn again. You have Batman and the Joker as a title, a relaunch of Wildstorm and Wildcats. So, to me, DC Comics is attempting to right the ship. But to just take an attitude that they're going to get written off drives me crazy. DC is carried by Warner Brothers Movies, and DC, I'm sorry to say, DC has better stories than Marvel. The Marvel movies are something that they pick up an issue of a Marvel comic and go, let's make this into a movie. There's no variation. The thought is that the Snyderverse is gone. It's probably mainly because that DC didn't take the attitude of Marvel and just take one of the stories from the comics and make it into a movie. I don't want to lash out, but to me it's really sad that creativity is no longer something that backers go for. And in this article, they say that in one of the sections they say that the hammer is about to drop on DC Comics. That's one man's opinion, but I got a feeling that there are going to be people that look at this and go, "Oh, it's gospel."
Yeah.
And I know that Discovery, I'm going to say Discovery did this. They canceled the Batgirl series. They took out any idea of Batgirl movie because Discovery, which is a decent channel, but to me it doesn't bring you all that much until one week a year.
Yeah.
So,
Like our sharks.
and that just drives me crazy. Why? Why is that interesting? But
If you think about it, Discovery is in the business of the real. Whether it's reality shows, whether it's nature shows, whether it's true crime shows, they're in the very real. Comics is like total opposite end of the spectrum for them. They don't understand it. It's not real, so that's I see DC suffering because of it, just because of who they've partnered with. They don't understand it. They don't want to understand it. Get rid of it,
But is that fair?
No, not at all.
Especially when they absorbed a very creative company.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of put in the mind of way back in the day when Marvel was having problems and they sold off a lot of their IPs to get their heads above waters. Look how long it's taken them to get that stuff back. They still don't have it all back. Sony is still part owner or co-owner or whatever of a lot of their stuff. I would hate to see the same thing done to DC in modern day. I don't know if it would come back.
They would not do that. If anything, they would hold on to the IP and sell off the comics.
Yeah.
Because that's all Warner Brothers gives a shit about. They don't care about the comics. They care about the movies, the merchandise, the TV shows, all that.
And it's also, I also find it kind of hard to believe that Discovery is going to just come in and decide that they can run Warner Brothers better than Warner Brothers can. I don't know.
It depends. Who's got the checkbook?
Well,
I think Warner Brothers has got some money. I'm not worried about that.
At this point, no one does. That's why they're killing everything. It's not just DC. there was an article which I wish I could, or an editorial which I could have read but it's one of those. It was editorial, so you got to pay, have a subscription to read.
Yes, the paywall. Yay.
Mm-hmm. The paywall. It's talking about why would any creator, especially an animated creator, want to do business with Warner Brothers after what they just done?
Money. The name.
Allegedly, Warner Brothers doesn't have any money, so.
Remember, that's why all these shows got axed and pulled off HBO Max, so they don't get the residuals. So again, the question: why would you go to Warner Brothers? Other than the possible, the fact that you're with Warner Brothers, that will help, but will it really? Why not go to someone else? And I want to go back.
It's a matter of, do you want to put, if you was an animator, do you want to put Pixar on your movie and have just all the people who will watch it just because it says that? Or do you want to go with some little indie brand where you may never see the return on your time and investment you put in on that? One, you may be able to keep your properties if you didn't work for someone else. The other one, you're going to see it fast. So it comes down to the creator. Which do you want? Do you want the name and the quick bang? Or do you want to go with someone else and work out a contract, and maybe over 20 years you may see what you're going to get in the first couple of months with Pixar or WB or Discovery?
But you're not with WB, not right now.
Well, I think current, yes, but here going forward, I don't see them offering people jobs if they're not going to pay them. Right now, they're kind of in the we got to save what we've got mode.
They're in we have a buttload of debt that we need to pay off as soon as possible mode.
Yep.
The thing that I think a lot of the people who are talking shit about WB right now are forgetting or don't understand is that Warner Brothers is a big corporation. They may be out of money, but they're not out of resources.
Yeah.
They may have a shit year in 2022 because they overextended themselves somewhere along the line. They'll be fine in 2023.
Right.
I don't think anybody needs to worry about that at all. And honestly, articles like this are what give journalism a bad fucking name.
Well, something else I wanted to kind of bring up, and I wanted to make sure everybody remembers regarding DC Comics. There's been a lot of layoffs and cutbacks the last couple of years back when AT&T took over Warner Brothers. Yeah. So I don't see there being much more being done.
Right. They're not really that bloated at this point.
Right.
Other than their debt, which,
that's not DC's fault.
They're finding ways to deal with that. And right, and that's not DC's fault specifically. That's Warner Brothers in general. But DC is a very small fish in that pond.
Right. So
they'll be fine.
I think they'll be okay, Les. They'll be okay.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Just give it 6 months or a year, and then there will be no more noise about this because it doesn't have. Nobody will care.
Well, I think anytime you see two big companies merge together, this is the kind of stuff you're going to see. Sure. It's ugly.
People are going to talk shit about them because they can get away with it because they might get a few more clicks on their website.
Right.
And that's the way it is, and that's what this is, and it's fine, whatever.
The thing about a lot of stuff that they have done the last few weeks. Yeah, the canceling Batgirl, that really sucks. And it doesn't seem right that they're going, well, this is a $90 million film that's not really fully completed yet, but it's going to take about another $50 million to complete it and then to do the marketing and that kind of stuff. And we just don't want to spend that kind of money, yet we are continually hearing that they're doing reshoots, not only for Flash, but now for Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
And these are $100 million films. So I don't understand. I don't understand the logic there. But the thing that really upsets me is these ones for like Infinity Train, where it was a successful show on HBO Max, and now they killed it, and it's basically so they don't pay the creator the residuals. They can save that money. And I'm like, but it's a successful show. If it's successful and people are buying or subscribing to the network and watching these shows,
right? You're making the money. What's
you're
so
making
bad
the
about
money.
Paying the little bit of
Why,
residuals that they're charging you, or that you're
exactly
contracted them for?
That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about, especially creators of animated shows, something like this. Going, you know what? I don't trust Warner Brothers right now.
Well, if you have a lot of trickles, eventually a dam's going to break. I think when they put HBO Max out, they pumped it full of so much content. And sure, maybe this little creator's only making a small residual, but if you've got 1,000 shows that are making a small residual, small little trickles eventually, like I said, small little trickles eventually break the dam. And maybe that was the problem here. They just had too many that they were paying out that it wasn't worth it.
But the deal is,
fucking them over's okay then?
But see,
No,
ultimately the deal here is that we can sit here and talk about it all day long. We don't actually understand the finance behind it.
No.
True.
We don't know how much. We don't know what a residual is effectively.
Right.
We know that it's what somebody gets paid. Do we know how that's structured in the contract? No. Do we know how much of the actual profit that consists of? No. So it's all pointless.
Yeah.
It's Warner Brothers. They're a big corporation. They'll figure it out. We just have to let them do their stupid little shit right now. I mean, what they're doing looks bad and it looks dumb right now. Yeah. In 6 months, it probably won't matter anymore.
Yeah.
They will take a minor hit to their reputation and then they'll move on and it'll be fine.
And sad to say, Discovery doesn't know this artist. They had nothing to do with this. They have nothing to do with the show. So it's easy for them to go, kill it. They didn't sit down with these people and talk about this or anything, which, like I said, is one of the growing pains of a merger, because the other company coming in, they don't give a shit about you. They haven't dealt with you and know about your family or know that, this is the only job you've had. They don't care.
An argument could be made that Warner Brothers didn't give a shit about them either.
Right.
Because, again, large corporation.
A little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But I think that right now what we're seeing, Discovery's got to come in and they've got to get their elbow room. They've got to get their seat at the table. And if there's just so much crap from HB on here, then let's clear the table a little bit so we can put some of our shit out too. If you're giving them all this stuff over here, why are they going to watch our stuff? So it's kind of, we don't want to compete with you guys anymore. We're in business together now. So right. Some of the
we
cuts,
still don't
I don't
know what that's
going to
look like in the end. So,
but right, and Discovery is supposed to be, revamping certain areas that they've been failing in, and which so far I have not seen a lot of the kids' animation cut. When we were talking about Wheels Up Batman, I went looking for that, and so far, other than I think there was a couple of the Looney Tune ones that I had talked about before, they haven't cut a lot of their kids' programming. So I see that's where Discovery and HBO both are going to start concentrating a little bit more. We're going to see more kids stuff come from them. But they have to get all this other stuff out of the way so they can narrow their focus. Which was funny. Did you read the age groups they were talking about?
No.
It's what they thought their target age group is not their target age group. It's actually older than what they thought it was. So they were kind of like,
That kind of
oh,
doesn't surprise me, really.
right. I mean, honestly, the age group they're talking about is our age group on the podcast right here. They actually thought like the millennials and the 20-somethings were their target age group, and they're like, no, these old fuckers are watching more TV than the younger ones
Mhm. I don't have any trouble believing that at all.
are. Right? Yeah. Well, we didn't grow up with all this. You know, we're still catching up on. Oh yeah, I watched that. Three's Company. I watched that back in the 80s. So we're streaming that. The kids, they don't care about that.
Right.
We streamed it when it came out. So, but yes, I see a lot of that happening right now. They're going to come in and they're going to create some bruises getting that elbow room.
Right. And I think a lot of it is just sort of getting over-reported. I mean,
And it's not fair.
I think we're getting too much
but
detail about it, and we need to
we
just
are.
not worry about it.
And sad to say, we're only getting one side. If I lost my job, I'm going to be pretty pissed, and I don't know. But in business, everything's ugly. You can't be nice.
Right. There's no nice. Just which is why you can't worry about it. You just got to let them do their thing, and in 6 months it'll probably be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will be hurt a little bit, and they'll get up and they'll move on too. And now if we could just quit whining about it, because that's what a lot of this noise is just people whining, and that's, it is what it is.
I think we'll continue to hear about it for the next couple of months.
Yeah,
so.
Totally.
Especially as they stream back more.
Yep.
Okay. For my news item, this was originally reported in the Wall Street Journal, but several other sites have picked it up and went with the story. But NBC is considering shrinking their primetime programming as early as next year, 2023. Talking about moving, for us in a Central Time, it would be the 9 o'clock hour, sending it back to the affiliates for programming.
So it would be like
they would literally be. Well, it could be infomercials. There, some of the articles. They could do the Tonight Show earlier, or the news be moved up earlier. And that's some of the stuff that I saw discussed.
Or the affiliates could find syndicated stuff to pick up.
Right. Yeah.
Huh. Who is NBC?
Say what? I believe it's NBC Universal at the moment.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
NBC Universal.
They're not owned by like Paramount or anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. It sounds like we're starting to move towards we're losing to the streaming services, so we're going to start cutting back the new content that we're making.
Yeah.
That is very much what it sounds like to me.
Now,
exactly.
My soap opera has been on NBC since 1965. Never, other than September 11th when all broadcasting stopped. They've never stopped broadcasting this soap opera. And they announced last week that at the end of the year, they will move to the streaming service. That's weird.
So, yeah, I mean that's what's going to happen. It's like the broadcast TV is going to just stop having original content other than the news and maybe some.
Right, they're going to syndicate their own shit back to themselves from the streaming service to show on broadcast TV.
Yep.
That's crazy.
But not entirely unforeseen.
And yeah, I was about to say I see where it's headed. I think nowadays I'd have to look at the percentage, but almost everybody has Wi-Fi nowadays, whether it's through your cell phone or a laptop through school or a Chromebook. Most people have Wi-Fi nowadays. So it only makes sense to start moving that way, you know?
Do you have Wi-Fi at the farm?
I do on my phones.
Is that actually Wi-Fi, or are you just using phone data? Because those
Well,
are different things.
same thing though. It's some kind of
Mm,
internet access.
okay.
At the farm, we can watch movies, and I could pull up local news. It would be on my phone or laptop, but
Mhm.
yeah.
It would be interesting to see the percentage of the country that is actually covered.
And not Earthlink. Yeah, it's Earthlink. Has talked
God,
to,
Earthlink's still around?
well, or not Earthlink, Skynet. Elon
No.
Musk's
Skynet.
satellite.
Skynet.
That is from the Terminator.
Oh,
Is that really what he calls it?
I thought that was the Skynet
Because if
satellite
so,
that
the
he's been
bastard really
launching.
is a Bond villain at this point.
Mm.
But it's either Earthlink or Skynet. I forgot what the names of his satellites are. But those, he's actually talked about making like a mobile Wi-Fi where people who are out in the sticks and can't get Wi-Fi can be able to get Wi-Fi from satellites now.
Be careful with what he says.
Well,
Starlink.
he's already Starlink.
Starlink.
Yes. Take the two and smash them together.
Earthlinks, Skynet,
Well,
whatever.
they're already in talks with T-Mobile with it. T-Mobile will be the first ones to roll it out for him. That's what one of the reasons he's been launching all those satellites off for. And as much as a money grab as this sounds like, this will also help people like who have no internet access. We're talking like third world countries and that kind of thing, actually bringing them internet access to those places.
And
So,
parts of this country. Parts of this country don't have internet. So
right. Yes, for sure. The talks are here first, but that's his plan, would be global. And he thinks that it should be free.
That's because he wants to own the internet. Again,
Yes.
Bond villain. But anyway.
Right. He couldn't get Twitter, so he'll get the rest of it.
Right. He'll buy the whole internet instead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, parts of it.
Uh-huh.
But if I was over in Africa and I didn't have Wi-Fi, I would be happy.
Perfectly fine, because you wouldn't know about Wi-Fi, because you wouldn't
Right.
care, because you would just live your life.
Yeah. But how much easier does internet access make our lives, though? Honestly,
How much harder does it also make our lives?
I'm sick. I don't even have to get out of my house. I can go to my computer and talk to my doctor now, you know? Or my baby's sick and the nearest doctor's 3 villages over. I can go to Google and find out what I can do for my baby. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many things that you can do with internet to people who don't have connections so close. Just imagine.
Yep. The internet is all good. There's no negative. There's no.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
no.
I'm stopping with that. I've been poking the bear here, and I'm stopping.
I know you did. That's why
I've been riling her up on purpose, and I'm not gonna do it anymore. I'm done.
Isn't that fun?
It is. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, I think sometimes the good outweighs the bad.
I think you're a little bit of an optimist,
Yeah.
and that's good. That's a good thing. Keep being an optimist.
Yeah. I try.
All right. Well, what's your thoughts on it, Les? You've been kind of quiet.
Well, let's see. I am going to take the opinion that it's all BS.
That's fair.
I don't see I don't see all of the pluses. I see minuses galore, which is not good. Yet, that's what people don't search for. And I think the three of you have brought up some very good cases where they're not paying attention to what's going on. And as a result, we're going to get snowballed into another idea that we don't need. Just don't frickin' need. And we got to stop now. That's all. I'm sorry, that sounds very political, but it's true. We got to stop now. Let's don't take our ball, go home, but let's pay attention to what's going to be offered and how it's going to affect us.
Oh, wait, you mean actually find out what people need as opposed to just what I want to give them?
Who'd have thunk it, huh?
That's crazy talk. You're just still bitter about this whole sliced bread thing, aren't you?
Yes.
Damn straight. I like just biting into a loaf.
Screw
myself,
technology.
so.
All right. Any special shout-outs or mentions this week?
Nope, not this week.
Nothing here.
Just happy birthday to our fearless leader.
Mhm.
Here.
Yeah, we were recording this on Thomas's birthday.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's really thrilled with me
Yay.
and Liz about that, but anyway.
Sorry.
Oh, I was taking at least partial blame for you. It's cool. I was the one who suggested switching days.
It was not a big deal. But thank you for the birthday wishes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's go on to our regular shout-outs then. First off, I want to thank Pop Goes the Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be part of a great group of fellow podcasts. We recommend that you check them out. There will be a link in the show notes. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who make up Podern Family on Twitter, who've been so gracious as to retweet our links. The best way to do that is to do a search, hashtag Podern Family, one word. Just scroll through whatever catches your eye. Click on that link and please download that episode, and we hope you have a great time listening to them. Thank you guys as always. Want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying music to our podcast. In our show notes, there will be a link where you can check out their work. Thank you guys as always. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. Any questions, comments, suggestions, complaints, observations, what have you, please send them our way. Email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, or you can go to the website and go to the About Us page. There is a contact form that you can fill out there. If you join our Discord, we do have a channel specifically designed for feedback. On social media, we're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. We're now on Instagram, @Fellowship Geeks. And that happens to be also our Twitter handle, so follow us there. If you like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found @MikeyGeek. Liz can be found @LN_geek. Les may or may not be found @FakeLesWebster. And I can be found @TomTCGeek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you be so kind as to rate and review our show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Yep. Thank you, everybody.
Join us on Discord.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We appreciate the support as always. And until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook @The Fellowship of the Geeks. and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,